We welcome you to Blaine, Minnesota, where the MLS Next Pro season continues to ascend towards its climax in Match Week 25. It is a playoff hopeful in Minnesota United FC2, hosting the hottest side in the league in the Town FC. We say hello and welcome to the National Sports Center Stadium, where you get your look at Minnesota United, a team right now just on the outside looking in on the top 8, those playoff places, but 3 points this evening could power them back into the playoff spots. This a massive 6-pointer for the Loons after dropping that fixture last week at Real Monarchs, a huge inflection point in their season. But their opponents, well, it won't be easy. It is against one of the hottest sides in the league, a side that is 10 unbeaten in the Town FC. They are looking to make that 11 despite some squad rotation in their third match in the last 9 days. The question is, with a limited squad, can they make it 11 unbeaten? We'll find out in a matter of moments. It's now time to get a look at our starting lineups here tonight, starting with Jeremy Hall's side. You get your look at his 11, switching back into a 3-back where he makes 3 changes. The notable alteration, no Darius Randall in the squad. He is not included. And then the introduction of Owen Jean, the center midfielder who joined on loan earlier this season from the French second tier in Ligue 2. He is set to make his next pro debut after spending the bulk of the year with Minnesota United's first team. And also, as always, Luke Dorsey will be leading the line. He is a danger man. In the absence of Luke Hilley, who's out for the year with an ACL tear, he will be the key focal point up top for the Loons. On the opposite end of things, for the Town and Dan DeGeer's bunch, they also make 4 changes from what was a scoreless draw Wednesday night. We mentioned it. Their third match in the last 9 days, so they're forced to delve deeper into their reserves. But keep your eye up top on Julian Donnery, who leads the line. 3 goals to his name in place of Nonso Adimabua, their top scorer, who is on the bench. And then between the sticks, Francesco Montali on the back of 2 straight clean sheets, hoping to make it 3 in this key fixture away from home. We are just about set to get things underway here from the National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota, on the outskirts of the Minneapolis-St. Paul region. For Minnesota United FC2, it is about rectifying what has been a spottier run of form since their red-hot start to the campaign. A side now with only 1 victory in its last 7 league matches, and they will have their hands full against a team that enters in the best of form throughout any squad in the competition. The Town FC, 10 unbeaten, had a 7-match win streak snapped in their scoreless draw against Real Monarchs on Wednesday night. Dan DeGeer mentioning that, hey, you can't score 4 in them all. And that was a fixture where he was just pleased they were able to grind out the result and get the additional point in spot kicks. Second of 3 meetings this year between the Town and Minnesota United FC2. Town winning the first by a 3-2 score line, jumping out to a 3-1 advantage before they were pegged back in the second half in Moraga. In this, actually, the second and final encounter between these 2 entities. It is Minnesota in their black strip with the white numbers and blue accents. They'll be going from left to right on your screen. The Town in the white with the greenish black numbers and the green shorts going right to left. We are underway from the National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine. Minnesota United 2 and the Town in a key tussle towards the top 8 of the Western Conference table. And an early foray forward from the Town, from Minnesota. Sam Goldfarb excited to bring you all of the action tonight. Cristian Campo, our lead official. Well, in many respects, we've mentioned it, 2 sides on opposite ends of the form spectrum. For Minnesota, it's been an up and down year all season under Jeremy Hall, but in contention for what would be a first ever playoff berth. The Town, they only really know the playoffs, making back-to-back Western Conference semifinals entering this year. And this season, entered the weekend sitting second in the West. It's now third, and a chance to make inroads potentially on that top spot. They are still 10 points off St. Louis, but well on their way to hosting a Western Conference quarterfinal and potentially beyond. Some decent link-up play. Trying to find the front man in Logan Dorsey. Instead, running it clear the other way is Misael Rodriguez. And in addition, he has been to the town. 7 goals to his name and always a danger on either flank. Dan DeGeer mentioning that his versatility is what sets him apart from other forwards in this league. And there is your first look at the lead man between the sticks, Francesco Montali, Davie, Florida native, who oddly enough played 5 matches with this Minnesota United 2 side a year ago. With the town getting far more consistent play time and the joint second most clean sheets in the league entering this evening as you get another look at this physical coming together. Rodriguez giving chase here and just upended by Alpha Kabia. That gives you the sense of the physical fixture this will be. Rodriguez. Some link up here with Baptista. And read well by Babacar Niang. Plays it through to Dorsey, and just beyond his reach. Promising early signs from the Loons, though. Well, talking to both coaches, it's an interesting backdrop for this fixture because obviously the Town's had a quick turnaround here. Took on Real Monarchs in that scoreless draw on Wednesday in which they won on spot kicks, courtesy of 3 consecutive penalty kick saves from Montali in the shootout. But oddly enough, Minnesota played that same Monarchs side away from home last Sunday. Talking to Dan DeGeer of the Town, he mentioned that he feels that helps them prepare. Obviously, it's a different matchup, styles make fights, but it allows you to see where they're strong, and obviously it is a recent match of theirs, so they're able to get the sense of the form of the players on the pitch. Not often you see 2 teams enter fresh off of playing the same opponent, almost a common denominator of sorts. Of course, the Town enjoyed slightly more success against that playoff hopeful in Monarchs. Here's Mendoza, fixture of the first team books that has played regularly with the second team since inking that homegrown player contract a few years back. Himself and Medina called up to the U.S. Youth National Team. This is given away, a chance for Minnesota perhaps. Cutting inside, Dorsey drives it into the thicket of defenders. Snatched back by Kabia though. Kolov, one of the top chance creators in all of MLS Next Pro. Left to head towards Rodriguez. Diogo Baptista just loses out. When you look throughout Minnesota's squad, it's not necessarily 100% either. Momo Kamara, a relatively frequent starting presence the last couple months or so, is not with the team tonight due to the fact that he's traveling with Sierra Leone for their World Cup qualifiers. So, key wing presence who started last week, not in the side. Of course, the lads who will compete in World Cup qualifying or under 20 matches for the Town don't leave until tonight, that being Medina and Mendoza, the youth national team of the United States. So some dilemmas both ways as we enter the international break window across world football. Mendoza sprays this wide, and this is Medina. Always a threat on it. Just beyond the reach of Misael Rodriguez. lost in the shuffle of all of this discussion is Minnesota squad losing its top scorer in Luke Hilly, who bagged 10 goals before tearing his ACL in the Tacoma match a couple weeks back. Talking to the coaching staff, particularly second team assistant Fernando Adi, the key conversation point was putting the onus on Logan Dorsey to produce more, and produce more Dorsey has. Goals in the last 2. Will be a major point of conversation over the course of these final 6 matches for Minnesota. Who will procure the goals with Hilly out of the fold? His surgery earlier this week. Team sending compassion his way and trying to make sure that mentally he copes through the process of recovery first before they can physically do anything. Rasha Gopal. Decent link up here. Bautista sent tumbling. Pavia maybe about to receive a talking to from our official for that challenge. Will be just a set piece. Nothing more from our lead official just yet. Cruz Medina and Edwin Mendoza stand over it. Medina enjoying another leap in his attacking production. 5 goals and 4 assists to his name. Dan DeGeer saying that playing alongside Nonso Adimabua has assisted that boon in production. This set piece certainly favors his right boot in this circumstance. Hooked in towards the back post. It's still loose. And it appears the goalkeeper in Kane Rizvanovic has done just enough. Kolov. Well, for those just joining us, we welcome you into Blaine, Minnesota, on the outskirts of the Minneapolis-St. Paul region in Minnesota. Minnesota United FC2 and the Town FC on this Labor Day weekend, the second and final clash between the two squads. It is a fixture that the Town has never lost, a perfect 2-0-2, including back-to-back victories. Excuse me, a victory earlier this season after earning a 1-1 draw and winning on pens in the only match of 2024. So Minnesota hopes to catapult themselves back into the top 8. They would likely need to do something they have not done before in their brief history, and that is beat the Town. Ibarra plays it forward. Decent run for Chance Cowell here. Shrugs his defender off it. Rasha Gopal. Mendoza. Plenty of numbers forward for the Town. Rodriguez. Appetizing ball towards Donnery. Beyond the reach of everyone, including Rizvanovic. Well, there is your look at Montali's counterpart, the 17-year-old Kane Rizvanovic, native of Chicago, who's a recent graduate of the Minnesota United FC Academy. Someone who signed his first pro contract with the second team on March 21st and has been amongst a revolving door of goalkeepers this year. With the departure of Wessel Spiel on loan to Ireland, he's enjoyed heightened opportunity. It has been the preferred option since Spiel's departure. Eisner. cannoning this ahead. It's a lovely ball to Cowell. He waits reinforcements. Ibata, Cowell again. Stood up rather nicely in the end by Anderson Ferris. We'll have the opportunity to talk with Fernando Adi of the Minnesota United FC2 staff this week. And when discussing that 3-2 defeat against Real Monarchs, which in many ways was a roller coaster, falling behind early, leveling things, and then falling into a 3-1 pit that they ultimately could not emerge from fully. He mentioned how difficult the circumstances were, playing away from home against a side in an MLS venue. He was overall pleased with all of the facilities, though. Said that it's a learning experience for his bunch. Chance to take it and thank it as Dorsey nearly got through here. It was excellent instincts from Montali to get off his line. He did just enough to usher it out of trouble. Rodriguez loses out. Maybe a chance to break for the town. Cowell has numbers in support. Charging at Ferris and bypasses him. Flashing it across. Stabbed away by Kabia. Now Rodriguez. Baptista just loses out. I'm talking to Fernando Adi. He mentioned that it was always tough, falling behind 3-1. He was pleased with his squad's response, but not able to find that elusive equalizer. Of course, serving under Jeremy Hall, the second-year head coach that has done so well to bring in players that fit his desired game model and build a Loon squad that is in legitimate contention for a playoff berth for the first time since that 2023 campaign, in which they narrowly fell short on goal difference. There's a player down now for Minnesota, and it is Kieran Chandler, the new first-team signee, who inked that first-team contract just 9 days ago. This is a concerning sight. Kieran Chandler, who is back to his feet now, a Yukon product who's been a sensational presence as a wingback or fullback hybrid since signing that first pro contract with the second team in late February. He seems content to try and walk this off, so that's a welcome sight for all fans of Minnesota United. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health, an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. We are just beyond the opening quarter of an hour here at the National Sports Center Stadium. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way. As things stand, no score between Minnesota United FC2 and the Town FC in what is a pivotal fixture, especially for Minnesota's playoff hopes. A team that enters just south of the playoff cut line on a tiebreaker with Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. With just 6 matches to play, including this one. So the next 6 fixtures, all effectively cup finals for the Loons in their quest to reach their first ever postseason in the Next Pro ranks. The Town are all but there. They can clinch a berth with a win tonight. Eisner Floats this ahead. It's an appetizing ball. Cut across towards Donnery. No one there to greet it, though. Now Sosnowski. Ferocious tackle. Medina. Negotiating through black kits and just left it dangling. As we mentioned, the town right now, a bevy of clinching scenarios. A win and they automatically clinch. That's their playoff fate sealed, and then they can start to grapple for seeding, which I think is going to be the bigger concern for Dan DeGear's bunch come the final weeks of the campaign. They can also get through with a shootout victory and help elsewhere. They would need Portland to lose on a shootout and a number of other sides to get one or fewer points. So the most routine way to ensure their playoff place would just be to win and replicate what they did against this Minnesota squad just over a month ago. Medina. Here is Messiah Rodriguez. Looking for Raja Gopal, and they will come back to the earlier contact on Rodriguez. What is a town side that over the course of this 10-match unbeaten run has been so prolific in front of goal? 26 goals in that stretch. A team that now boasts the 5th most tallies in all of MLS Next Pro. And that's considering that they've only managed one in their last two. It's been a bit of a struggle in front of goal over the course of their last 2 matches. But overall, so fearsome going forward, and Dan DeGear attributing that to his bevy of experienced pieces in the squad. As Medina and Mendoza stand over this. Medina curls towards goal and well over the bar. His emergence going forward has been a big part of this attacking surge, not to mention the addition of Nonso Ademabua, who's on the bench this evening. Leading scorer with 9 goals to his name. All in all, the combination of maturing fixtures in this squad combined with experienced and talented goal scorers that have been brought in the offseason has made for a dynamic unit in possession. Minnesota, the goals have come and gone in many respects. Team that early in the year opted to play on the counter, now trying to possess it a bit more. Going direct here, a flick on header towards Dorsey. It's read well by Eisner. Ibarra. This is Medina. Just beyond the reach of Cowell. Well, for those just joining us, we welcome you into the National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota. A venue that, believe it or not, back in the day was in contention to be a 1994 World Cup host site. As things stand, no score between Minnesota and the town. The Loons hoping to change that here, though. Numbers going forward. Cross in. Nearly reached Sosnowski. Comes out harmlessly to Rodriguez. Kabia. Moving it towards Sosnowski. right now, you just have yet to see the playmakers on either side get comfortable. I think the wingers for the Town have grown into this. The midfield for the Loons still looking to impose their will on it. Outside of a couple of half chances for Logan Dorsey. Service relatively few and far between for the front men. Chandler hoping to alter that run. Cross towards Dorsey's cutout. Long throw from Chandler. Decent flick on towards Dorsey. Comes out to the Town with numbers on the break. Medina hunting the run of Rodriguez. Turn ball to Medina just behind him. And as of now, the final ball for both sides just lacking. Kolov, always a threat whenever he steps on it. One of the top 10 players in terms of key passes in MLS Next Pro. Not to mention the 7 assists to his name. Niang. Lovely ball forward towards Jean. Off his line to claim is Montali. Francesco Montali's had to time runs off his line a fair number of times tonight. This the latest. It's a heavy touch from Jean, which ultimately affords Montali the time he needs to collect. Not the only real semblance of a chance for the Minnesota front line. The likes of the attacking midfielders and forwards with very little to feast on thus far. Fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Allianz Life Insurance Company of North America, proud worldwide insurance partner of the International Olympic and Paralympic Committees. Beyond the midway point of this first half, and it is a cagey affair thus far. Donnery just unable to reach that. And you don't blame either side. The Town, of course, rotating heavily tonight and trying to ensure they keep this unbeaten run going. Third match in 9 days with players about to go on international duty with the international break taking effect. In Minnesota, on the other hand, they know the stakes. They cannot afford to drop another key fixture, especially with just 5 matches remaining after this one. The defeat to Monarchs devastating enough a week ago. Mendoza wins it back, and this is Cowell driving it towards goal and well over the bar. That's better from the Town, continuing to provide half chances for their front line and giving Rizvanovic a few things to think about. Only mentioned it, it's been a cagey affair thus far, and I think the stats tell the full story. Not a single shot on target for either side. The Town a bit more aggressive going forward. Minnesota picking their spots here and there. It's made for not even a match of cat and mouse, but more of a feeling out process between these two sides. In a match this tight, it will either be a moment of individual brilliance or a brutal error which breaks things open. The question is which will rule the day, or if either will come into effect. when you look at the anatomy of the Loons season in particular, such a fast start, winning their first 4 matches, up and down since, in this recent run with just 1 win in the last 7, does tell a lot of the story. When talking to the coaching staff, the biggest issue they've lamented is conceding goals. They've said we need to tighten up at the back at all costs for starters, and then we can start to think about taking more risks going forward. Remember, this was a side that at one point was one of the best defenses in the league, a team that only conceded 3 goals in those first 4 matches. Now with 15 goals allowed in the last 6. There's a heavy emphasis on tighten things up first and foremost, with this crucial juncture of the season beckoning. Rodriguez launching it forward towards Chance Cowell. Heads it along to Donnery. Big presence up front. Eisner carries forward. Late challenge into the back of Cowell, and it is one that draws our referee's ire. In a match like this, a moment from a set piece could completely alter the trajectory of things. Yet again, Medina and what appears to be Mendoza will deliberate here as we approach the half-hour mark in Blaine, Minnesota. This likely forms the latter's right boot. Hooked in, appetizing ball, and just headed wide. At the first major warning shot for either side. Signs of life from the town, and it comes on a set piece. This is a teasing ball in from Edwin Mendoza. A towering header from Will Eisner that is just wide. Rizvanovic rooted to his line. Not much he could have done. And he'll breathe a sigh of relief as that went wide. There is the danger the town can pose. And they've nearly won this back. Instead, a free kick on the way in a very inviting spot. Yellow card shown as well in the process. So it may just be Babacar Niang, the captain. And that it is. So the Wake Forest product in the book as he captains the side this evening. And this is well within Cruz Medina territory. Yet again, Medina and Mendoza stand over this. And plenty for Kane Rizvanovic to consider between the sticks. 4-man wall for Minnesota. This is a side that can be lethal from set pieces, and Cruz Medina, with that dangerous right boot, can cause a lot of trouble. Medina to take, and right into the wall, which does its job to perfection. We enter the final quarter of an hour of this first half. The town's starting to twist the screws. Get the sense that for Minnesota, if a goal will come, it will come on the break. You've seen some vulnerabilities, especially between fullback and center back on this left-hand side defensively for the Town, especially when they give it away. Moments where Dorsey can just pick his spots in the weak spots between defenders is when they can be lethal. Rodriguez. Medina. Eisner driving it forward. Not dealt with just yet. Ibarra falls to Medina. Plays it through to Rodriguez. Just has it knocked away on the turn. Cowell not on the same wavelength as his counterpart on the far side, and the chance is lost. This portion of the match is brought to you by Target. Target is here for the love of the Loons. What do these final 12 minutes and change have in store for us in this first half? For those joining us, we welcome you into National Sports Center Stadium. It's a multi-sport complex in Blaine, Minnesota, just about 25 minutes from downtown Minneapolis. A venue that's been in existence since 1990. And Sosnowski is dragged down. Now Minnesota has a set piece to its name. Yellow card also brandished to what appears to be Diogo Baptista. And it is Diogo Baptista, left back, who is now on the referee's, subject of the referee's ire, we should say. And this is where Kurt Koloff can pose a number of questions. Himself and Kieran Chandler over this. Tense moment here for the Town defensively, and the crowd sensing it. Koloff floats it in towards the back post. Nodded away towards Cowell, who has fouled Kate Romanchin in the process, and will run it right back from the opposite flank. So what can Minnesota conjure from the opposite wing this time? You wouldn't put it past them to have a pop goalward either. Maybe try to catch Montali out at his near post. It is driven goalward, and right at Montali in the end. But it was worth an effort from Kurt Koloff. Baptista. Dan DeGeer says when things aren't necessarily going perfectly smoothly, he can lean on the experience of a lot of his players. He says it's a player's game, and the first group of people I need to compliment for our success are the players that take the pitch, especially those in the final third who managed to break through the back lines with so much comfort and take their chances as well. He's mentioned how this year, in comparison to last year, when of course the Town was still very solid and finished third in the Western Conference, gets the sense that when things aren't going well, his players have the experience and wherewithal to grind out results. When you look at who they brought in, experienced pieces, guys who have played across the American leagues, And here is one of them in Rodriguez. A brilliant ball towards the back stick. He just headed wide. And it takes a deflection out for a corner. These are the moments when, in a blink, a period of genius can unlock a defense. And Misael Rodriguez nearly provided that moment of genius. First corner for either team thus far. In swinging ball, it's dangerous. Too much contact in the box for our referee's liking. When you think about the Town's trajectory this year, it's almost the inverse of Minnesota United 2's. Team that opened the season in rather shaky fashion when you look at their schedule. Unbeaten in their first 4 games. But since that run ended with that defeat against North Texas on April 23rd, just 1 defeat. A team that, of course, is 10 unbeaten entering the night, had won 7 in a row prior to Wednesday, but only 1 defeat, sandwiching 2 massive unbeaten runs. This is Niang into the box. Rather routine for Montali. They've been in elite form for quite some time, and in a league where personnel changes so frequently, like it does in Next Pro, it is remarkable that the Town has managed to weather all of those personnel changes that the first team San Jose Earthquakes may throw their way at times, and still get results, even when maybe it's not their top complement of players. That's a testament to the staff Dan DeGeer has, as well as Dan DeGeer's efforts, of course. Now in his 4th year at the helm of the Earthquake second team outfit. So they took over just 3 games into their inaugural season. Mendoza. Brought down, referee says play on. Maybe a chance for Koloff to organize the other direction. Now he is down. Minnesota fans watch with bated breath as their creative mastermind in Kurt Koloff is rather slow to return to his feet. Now the physio's waved on. It is Koloff, 21-year-old, who joined after an exceptional campaign at Rutgers University, in which he was 2nd team All-Big Ten last fall. What a debut pro campaign he has enjoyed. Someone with the 7th most key passes in the league and the joint 4th most assists in the competition. When talking to Jeremy Hall earlier this year, ahead of the St. Louis match on this very ground, he said to me that he feels he's been their best player, and I don't think that assessment would change when you talk to him today. I think Luke Hilley obviously would be a conversation point, but unfortunately not available. So amongst available players, Koloff would be top of the team sheet. We are hearing word that that is the end of Kurt Koloff's night, so very unfortunate set of circumstances. As Koloff goes down in the center of the park, shaken up and withdrawn due to injury. It's replaced by Mubanor, the 21-year-old out of Ethiopia, who signed his first pro contract with Minnesota United 2 on March 7th. And he is tasked with providing some attacking punch that they will lose in the form of Koloff, who exits to a loud applause. We certainly send our thoughts his way as one of the key pieces in Minnesota's attack. So Mubanor replaces him. dynamic player who can play on the wings or the center of the park. Someone who's grown up in Minnesota. After being born in Ethiopia and made a name for himself in the 18x26 Academy UPSL ranks. That's where he attracted Minnesota United's attention and earned that first pro contract. Making his 19th appearance of the season. Closing stages of this first half. The only question we have is, will there be a plot twist, or will this cagey affair persist into intermission? Both defenses rock solid through the opening 40 and change. Medina has it taken away, only briefly though. Nor commits the handball. Medina. Of all the players on the pitch, Cruz Medina, one of the liveliest. There's Sheen from Minnesota. This is Noor's first touch. Sprinting at the back line, plays it into Romanchin. Tried to pick out the bottom left, but Montali saw it the entire way. Promising break here from Minnesota. They win it back off the counter press, and they nearly unlock the town. Heads up play from Noor to draw the defenders and pick out Romanchin, but the effort far too tame in the end. And Montali's vision not remotely impaired. That's better though from a Minnesota side that spent the bulk of this first half on the back foot. As we enter the final minute of the initial 45, those are promising signs you can take into intermission at a bare minimum. Fisher. Dorsey. Picks out Noor. Continues his run as well. Eisner brought down. We've hit the 45-minute threshold, and it will be 3 minutes that separate us from intermission. As things stand, I think both coaches will have a fair few talking points in the dressing room. I think Minnesota especially will emphasize being braver as this wears on, knowing the stakes at hand as they approach their closing 5 matches. Sal Rodriguez now tripped up. Kabia receives a yellow.
Yellow card caution issued in the UFC 2, number 92, Alpha Kabia. In the 45th plus 1 minute.
19-year-old Kabia, functioning as an outside center back this evening, enters the referee's book before intermission. Sets up the town for potentially one final set piece before the break. And it gives Medina and Mendoza more target practice right around the edge of the area. Medina hooks it in, dangerous ball, floated away rather comfortably. Flick towards Donnery, who heads it back across. Runs all the way through to Cano, now to the edge of the area. Fisher gets his boots in the mix, maybe numbers the other way for Minnesota. This is Dorsey. Upended by Kano, and the referee says continue play. Noor in acres of space. Overcooks it for Dorsey as the counter-attacking chance goes to nothing. And those are the moments where Jeremy Hall's side has to capitalize. They cannot afford to waste attacking transition moments. Niang. Jean. Medina heading it forward. Likely the final sojourn forward for either side this. Sosnowski. Floated towards Dorsey. Gets a decent flick to this. Now into the path of Noor. He turns on the afterburners. Back for Dorsey. Quite routine, but not a bad break there from Minnesota. And ending the half on an inviting foot. There is the first half whistle. At halftime, no score between Minnesota United FC2 and the Town FC, but Minnesota growing into it as that opening half of play progressed. Our score at the half is Minnesota 0, the Town 0. Coming up, highlight stats and a feel-good story from FC Dallas you will not want to miss. Stay with us.
MLS debutant Kevin Sullivan.
Luna.
Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Action.
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
We welcome you back to Blaine, Minnesota, where our score at halftime is 0-0 between Minnesota United FC2 and the Town FC. It's now time to look ahead to the upcoming MLS Next Pro schedule. And here is your look at what we have in store as we approach the key stretch of the Next Pro campaign. It is a loaded slate starting on Thursday. Crown Legacy hosting Carolina Core in that Carolina Derby. And then when you look ahead for both of these sides, Minnesota hosting Austin FC2, that a pivotal fixture in their quest to potentially solidify themselves inside the top 8. Meanwhile, the Town, their quest to clinch a playoff berth will continue against Portland Timbers 2. If they can't do it tonight, they can potentially do it next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And then as we head further down the schedule, New England hosting Huntsville to round out the week on September 8th. Well, coming up, a story out of Dallas about saving a life. You don't want to miss it. Stick with us.
my vibe.
Lionel Messi, who else?
The youngest MLS debutant, Kevin Sullivan. Luna.
That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Action.
Welcome back to halftime, where our score is 0-0 between Minnesota United FC2 and the Town in a crucial playoff match for Minnesota's aspirations. Well, sports and specifically soccer can inspire us in many ways. We want to introduce you to a very inspiring person out in Dallas, Sean McGinty.
For FC Dallas team administrator Sean McGinty, soccer is more than a game. It's a platform for connection, for purpose, and for life-saving action.
My name is Sean McGinty. I am the player relations coordinator at FC Dallas. I started out as an intern actually with North Texas when I first got here, and then after about a month or two I got bumped up to the NTSC team administrator, and I've been working as the administrator for the last 2 years. And then following the 2024 season with NTSC, I got moved up to the player relations coordinator here at FC Dallas.
Raised by a professional goalkeeper and a pioneering orthopedic surgeon, Sean grew up at the intersection of passion and perseverance. But life threw its first challenge before he even left the hospital.
Sean is my first child, and he was born with actually a congenital malformation of his gut, his large intestine, and so not known pre or anything like that. And he had to have a pretty major surgery within a week after being born. He had to have multiple surgeries in his first 3 years of life, where we were in and out of the hospital a lot. His goal in life was to get up and move and to play something. And he really, honestly, has maintained that amazing ability to just kind of get up and bounce back and do things.
That same drive took him to the pitch at UNC Asheville after his time at St. Louis University, where soccer became a means of connection and a source of something even bigger.
Sean was a teammate of mine going back for a few years at UNC Asheville. Sean's a dope dude. I mean, that's the best way to boil it down. Really great guy to be with on and off the pitch. Really bright too. I mean, I think he speaks like 4 or 5 languages. And as a footballer, I mean, he was just tenacious. I mean, he's kind of everything you wanted in a center back, not afraid to dive into a challenge and a workhorse. So great guy to know on and off the pitch.
Inspired by a cause to help blood cancer patients find life-saving stem cell donors, Taylor and Sean spearheaded a campus-wide effort. It would eventually save a life.
In grad school, I was introduced to a teammate of mine whose mother was dealing with a very rare form of cancer, and they were looking for stem cell donations or potential bone marrow donations for his mom, and that's when I signed up originally to be a part of the registry.
I was really, really proud of him. I think that a lot of people can be a little scared that, like, well, maybe this will be painful.
Having Sean donate was just really awesome. It meant a lot to see how Sean was invested in the cause and also how much it meant to him. I think a lot of our guys, when they signed up, you know, they do the cheek swab and fill out the form. They're like, yeah, I want to help. But things change when you get that call saying, like, you're a match. The process you're going through, quite literally giving a part of yourself to somebody else. And that, I think, really strikes home at a deeper level. And to see one of my friends and teammates be able to go through that experience was really, just really awesome.
What Sean didn't know at the time was the story of the man whose life he would help save.
I feel like it's not every day that you get to say that, like, hey, I potentially saved a life or did save a life. I don't really know if there are words to kind of put into like how that makes someone feel. Like I feel really happy and I feel really good that I was able to impact someone's life.
It means the world to me, but he's always been that way. It's always been really who he is, and he's a humble person.
Through the National Marrow Donor Program, Sean was able to connect with the recipient of his donation.
We communicated through, the company had someone kind of mediate between us both to get like contact information. I wasn't allowed to, I wasn't given his name and I wasn't given like a phone number or anything like that, but he wrote a letter that was forwarded on to me from Be The Match for him to like be able to participate and like do more things, because I found out like he's a married man, he's got 2 daughters, like him being able to have more time with his kids, it made me feel a lot better and really excited that he's in a year of remission and things are looking good for him.
Just is a blessing that he was able to really just extend that same gift that we have to another family so that they can have that as well, is just awesome in the true sense of the word.
I remember there was a point like when my mom was like really, really sick and we didn't know if it was gonna progress so bad that she would be disabled permanently, if she was not gonna be able to like go to work again. Like we were really nervous at one point. So I know like having that feeling for someone else, I can only imagine how his kids were feeling or how his wife was feeling.
Every person in the registry is a light in the dark for someone. Sean McGinty became that light.
It's at no real cost to you because not only will they pay for everything, but like there's no health risks really to it. They give you the stuff so you overproduce stem cells to minimize the effects for you. They really cater to your needs to make sure that you're okay while also making sure that someone else has the possibility to be okay. So I think it's a no-brainer for me. I think you should totally do it.
We're on this earth to kind of figure out who we are, what our place is, and honestly, it's to just to grow as humans and make connections and try to make the place a little bit better than it was when we got here. And doing something to help one person changes a whole world.
Yeah, I know I'm really attracted. I'm hanging on like a fridge to a magnet. It's a jigsaw with all the right pieces. You and me, we go good together. You and I go good together. You and I, we go good together. We go good together.
Action.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Este verano la Leagues Cup regresa más fuerte que nunca. Comenzamos con 36 clubes. En la primera fase, cada equipo jugará contra 3 equipos de la liga rival para determinar su posición en la fase de eliminación directa.
The 4 top-seeded clubs from each league will move on, ensuring interleague matchups all the way through the quarterfinals.
3 naciones, 2 ligas y un solo campeón. En Leagues Cup 2025,
it's dominance on the line.
We welcome you back to Blaine, Minnesota, where at halftime there is no score between Minnesota United FC2 and the Town FC, in a fixture that is crucial to Minnesota's playoff aspirations. And now it's time to get a look at our first half highlights here from Minnesota. Well, it was a cagey first half. Some direct play from Minnesota causing trouble. This time, Montali off his line to keep Luke Dorsey out. But other than that, chances rather few and far between for both teams. Cruz Medina and company created some trouble off of set-piece situations. This the town's best chance of the half. A header from Eisner that just sails wide. And then in the late stages of the first half, you began to see some signs of life. Mubanor entering the fray in place of Kurt Kolov and creating some danger for the town to cope with at the tail end of those opening 45 minutes. You see that save there from Montali. And then at the very depth of the first, this flick-on header sent Nor into a dangerous spot, but unable to find the return ball to Dorsey comfortably, and Dorsey doesn't get his boot around that cleanly. Those highlights pretty much tell the full story, and the stats reinforce that narrative. The town with more shots, more of the ball, but only 3 shots on goal throughout the entire match, and all 3 of them coming Minnesota's way. The issue, none of those 3 dangerous opportunities that truly tested Francesco Montali between the sticks, and it leaves us with all to play for here in the second. Well, those are your numbers as we are just about set to get things back underway from National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota. Hearing word of a change for the town, and it comes with Ariel Mumba entering the action in place of Diogo Baptista, who is on a yellow card. So a like-for-like change at left back as Mumba enters the fray. Minnesota also making a change, and it is the returnee from loan in Roman Torres, who was recalled earlier today. He enters the action. And he replaces Cage Romanchin in midfield. So Roman Torres, after being drafted 24th overall by Minnesota United in this year's MLS Super Draft, 25th overall, excuse me, now making his Minnesota United FC2 debut after spending the first 7 months of the year on loan with Birmingham Legion. We are back underway here from Minnesota. The question is, can one of these 2 sides separate themselves? For Minnesota, that question a bit more pressing given their predicament. Right now, just beneath the playoff cut line, 3 points could ensure they climb back into the top 8. Things get a lot more complicated if they're forced to settle for just a point. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action as we see how these final 45 minutes will unfold from National Sports Center Stadium. The changes on your screen. The 25th overall pick, Roman Torres, after months on loan with Birmingham Legion, is back after being recalled today. Meanwhile, Ariel Mumba in for Diogo Baptista. He's curled in, runs all the way through to Alejandro Cano. Cross deflected out for the town, and their first corner of this second half. The town had the bulk of the set pieces in that first half. It led to 9 shots. None of them found the frame. Kane Rizvanovic with no official saves to be made just yet. And they put some proper pressure on his goal here. Edwin Mendoza stands over it. And a bevy of white shirts crowding the goal mouth. It's delivered with in-swing. Rizvanovic gets his glove to it. And out for yet another corner. It's taken too quickly for our referee's liking. Well, it was a cagey first half between these 2 sides. The town more of the aggressor in possession, although it wasn't really clear-cut. Minnesota opting to be counter-aggressor, created some decent half chances in their counter-press or right after they won it back, but neither goalkeeper particularly tested just yet. This is an inviting ball. It is headed away off the line. Donnery whiffs at it. Maybe a chance to break for Noor, who is fouled in the process. Maybe Mumba may just be booked for kicking it away after the fact, as the referee has his yellow card out. Adiel Mumba, the former Spokane Velocity player who joined the club on a Next Pro contract in June. Booked immediately after entering the action with his first involvement. And the set piece ultimately amounts to nothing. Dan DeGeer was hoping that substituting Baptista on the yellow card would alleviate those concerns. Well, they've just been reignited. And now Mumba will be forced to match up with some dangerous frontline players from Minnesota while walking the tightrope. We'll see how that alters things for the Town's game plan out of possession. Backward, just had enough on it to prevent it from reaching Donnery. Chandler. It is important to note, the Town right now, in the midst of a prolonged goal drought, which is uncharacteristic when you look at their goal numbers throughout the season. Back-to-back matches without a goal entering tonight. That follows what was a 4-1 thrashing of Ventura County, in which their last goal came in the 72nd minute. So when you do all of the math, it adds up to a hefty number now. It was 198 minutes entering the night. It is now well above 200 as Chance Cowell wins this back. And it is a cross that evades everyone at the back stick and is not kept in play by Rodriguez. So just doing some quick math on the fly, that would mean a 240-minute goal drought, 248-minute goal drought and counting for the Town, which will be one of their longest goalless runs of the season when you look at all of the impressive goal-scoring numbers throughout this unbeaten stretch. You do the math, that goal over Houston Dynamo Dos, their last victory came in the 56th minute. So it is nearly now at 200 in terms of this mini goalless spell. Noor linking with Chandler. There's your look at the newest first-team signee. He has taken the opportunity Next Pro has afforded him, Kieran Chandler, and parlayed it into a first-team deal on August 22nd. Maybe a chance here for Minnesota. Player down in the area in Sosnowski. Referee waves away and he appeals for a penalty. There are signs of life here from Minnesota since the restart. Noor, crafty back heel, now Niang. This is Chandler. Muscled off it and commits the frustration foul in the process. When you have conversations with Minnesota's coaching staff throughout the season, the objective has been clear. It's been to get back to the playoffs. And while they have to balance that, of course, with serving the first team to the best of their capabilities and prioritizing development, ever since they endured what was a disappointing campaign in 2024, the message has been clear. We want to reach our first ever postseason. 2023, the hopes dashed on goal difference. Last season, 7 points off playoff pace after notching just one win in a 15-match span from early June through early August. This year, though, after the strong start, 4 wins from 4, wins have been harder to come by. Just 4 wins in the ensuing 18 matches. That's put them in a slightly precarious spot, where they now must perform against a pretty loaded schedule to close the campaign. Of course, the Town is an eye-catching opponent. They have to go to St. Louis still. The big one on their calendar as they round through September will be that September 21st fixture against North Texas. That, as of now, looks to be a 6-pointer that could define who makes the playoffs. If North Texas and Minnesota level on points as things stand entering the weekend. Cano. A bevy of white shirts on the far side. Medina lays it off. Cutting inside. Rodriguez just over the bar. That a very dangerous chance. Perhaps the best of the night for the Town. That is what Misael Rodriguez can provide. Joined the club after spending last season on loan with Union Omaha from Chicago Fire, his parent club at the time. After his contract was up, making the move to the Town, and talking to Dan DeGeer, he's mentioned how Rodriguez's versatility has been so invaluable. Can play on either flank, can even play through the middle. The only reason he hasn't has been the presence of Nonso Adimabua throughout the bulk of the year. It is that combined with the blend of directness and ability to play in pockets, which has really appealed to DeGeer and has led him to continue inserting him in the weekly 11s for the course of the last few months or so. Dan DeGeer knows a little something about talent, especially in the Northern California area. Someone who played at San Francisco, then coached in the college ranks throughout NorCal before joining San Jose's organization in 2017. And he's been a fixture of the club ever since. Still a young prodigy of sorts, only in his early 40s. One of the top coaches in all of MLS Next Pro. Chandler. What can he conjure for Minnesota? Has it knocked away? Donnery is unable to maintain possession. Cowell. Hoping to feast on the errant pass. Puts it all the way to the edge of the area. Rodriguez linking with Donnery. And the referee calls the handball against Misael Rodriguez. Fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Bell Bank. Switch and see how banking should be. Just shy of the hour mark here in Minnesota, and still no score between the Loons and the Town FC. The Loons entered the night just above the playoff line, began the match just below. They are in need of multiple points to ensure a spot in the top 8 come evening's end in what is a gridlocked Western Conference. You look at the table right now, between 7 and 13, the teams separated by just 5 points. So many squads in playoff contention in the West. Meanwhile, the Town, if they can procure the 3 points, would be the second team to clinch a playoff berth in the Western Conference. Chandler floating it towards goal. Comes loose to Chance Cowell, the 17-year-old. Mubanor tracks him to perfection. And you hear the applause of admiration from the supporters. Decent turnout here in Blaine tonight. It's ushered wide. And now chipped ahead. Maybe a chance brewing here for Minnesota. Dorsey trying from afar. Well, always rising, never dipping. Logan Dorsey still trying to find his footing. We've seen him have a couple of cracks from outside the area, but nothing truly testing Montali. That unfortunately has been the story of Minnesota's night, probably creating the higher caliber chances out of the counter press, but have yet to truly trouble the opposing goalkeeper between the sticks. Meanwhile, Rizvanovic, a mere spectator for large spells of the night. Nor. This is Babacar Niang. The ball from Jean is read rather well by the substitute fullback Mumba. Hearing word 2 changes being readied for the town, and Nonso Adimabua is one of the alterations. The top scorer for the town getting set to enter as Dan DeGeer likely chases the 3 points. Mumba is a step late catching up to this. Meanwhile, another forward, or wing back in Keegan Walwyn Bent, is also warming up at the touchline. Curious to see who they will replace. Figure that maybe Julian Donnery's night will come to a close and it will be a like-for-like alteration up front. Sosnowski. Falls kindly for Cowell. Kapia cleans up the mess. Now Kieran Chandler. Nor. Minnesota once again does not have the reinforcements required. Ferris. Jean. Vertical ball to Noor. Has options as well. Plays it forward to Dorsey. He's through and he finishes. Minnesota opens the scoring and they lead 1-0. A third consecutive match with a goal for Logan Dorsey. And the Loons striking on the break. That is just what the doctor ordered for Minnesota in what has felt like a must-win affair. And now they lead. Mubanor occupying both center backs. It stretches the defense, and Logan Dorsey finishes with such aplomb. Forced a bit wide, it doesn't matter anyways. A third consecutive match with a goal for Dorsey. Goal number 6 of the season for Logan Dorsey. Someone who has been a machine in Luke Hilley's absence. And Fernando Adi, the assistant coach of Minnesota United FC2, mentioned to me on the phone this week, we need Logan Dorsey to continue to pick up his production. He scores again, a third consecutive match, and Minnesota United leads 1-0. The changes have taken place. Nonso Adimabua replacing Julian Donnery. Meanwhile, Chance Cowell vacating for Walwyn Bent. Two like-for-like swaps on the front line as Dan DeGeer now is forced to chase. But Logan Dorsey, the brother of Houston Dynamo winger Griffin Dorsey, after an accomplished career, came to a close at Kentucky this past fall, being drafted in the second round of the 2025 MLS Super Draft by Minnesota, 55th overall. And after striking 3 times in the first 3 league matches, battled an injury that cost him the bulk of late spring and early summer. But since returning, his production has begun to skyrocket once again. And in a key match for Minnesota, he pushes the Loons' noses in front. There is the elusive breakthrough, and a Minnesota side that had continued to grow in confidence throughout the bulk of the first half capitalizes on that budding swagger. Jean, and still Jean, deflected out of play, and a corner on the way for Minnesota, and now the wind is at their backs. The directness and the confidence with which they advance it has thrown the town for a loop. This is perhaps a vulnerable spot for the visitors. A 10-match unbeaten run that hangs in the balance. A side that has lost just 1 since late April. In swinger. Deflected through to Kabia. And now Noor. To the edge of the area. Still loose for Dorsey. Took a deflection. And yet another corner for Minnesota. Well, for those just joining us, a cagey affair finally has its breakthrough. Logan Dorsey in the 62nd minute, making it 1-0 to the Loons. It was an excellent run from Noor that occupied 2 defenders, and Dorsey capitalizing on the space he was afforded with a 6th of the season and a 3rd consecutive match with a goal. Outswinging ball from Chandler. This one dealt with rather well by the town. Maybe a chance the other way. Walwyn bent, turning on the afterburners and latching onto it. Now brought down in the penalty area. Still loose, good stop there. And there's the first save from Rizvanovic. Walwyn Ben, the Canadian, and that much more routine for Rizvanovic. Fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by the experts at Allina Health, an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.com. We are just shy of the final 20 minutes, and moments ago, Logan Dorsey providing liftoff for Minnesota. A goal that currently would put them in the playoff places as things stand. Town, a 10-match unbeaten run that hangs in the balance. Had a 7-match win streak that was snapped in the scoreless draw against Real Monarchs on Wednesday. And now on a short week, maybe tired legs beginning to set in. Authoritative clearance from Torres, former first-round pick in this past year's Super Draft. And now the town is stretched. Numbers the other way for Minnesota. Goalkeeper off his line, and the chipped effort sails high. That was maybe the golden opportunity to put it to bed. Niang, towering header. Here's Mumba, the substitute. What has been a considerable period of time since the Town were defeated. Last loss coming in a 3-1 defeat to Western Conference leader St. Louis City 2. Prior to that, had not lost since the 2-0 defeat at North Texas in late April. It gives you a sense of how consistent this squad has been all year long. But right now, they'll be forced to dig deep to salvage something, a match in which their influence has waned as the minutes have ticked. Ball win bent. Arcing cross, runs all the way through to Mumba, who is dispossessed. Sosnowski reads it very well. Someone who Jeremy Hall dubbed fearless after breaking into the squad the last few weeks. Moore and Chandler not on the same wavelength. Ferris. Here is Chandler. Jean finds Noor. Niang continuing his run. Has Dorsey in support. This is Babacar Niang. Just lost the ball in a thicket of legs on the edge of the area. Now the first touch for Adima Boat, and they come back to the challenge on Ibarra. When you get your first look at the big number 55, Nonso Adima Boat, always a troublesome presence for opposing center backs. The Minnesota coaching staff mentioning to me that he would be the focal point of all of their defensive game planning. And it is a defensive first game plan for Minnesota, a side that has struggled mightily at the back the last few weeks, hoping to rectify things and get back in the win column. And so far, things going according to plan. Medina looking for Adima Boat. Just loses that foot race with the goalkeeper Rizvanovic. We are now inside the final 20. It is Logan Dorsey's 62nd minute strike, which separates the two sides in what has been a fixture with very few clear-cut opportunities. Minnesota capitalizing on their golden chance. Clever flick. Now Torres plays it through to Dorsey. He's onside, and off his line, Montali does excellently. Two big chances on the break for Minnesota to double things. And Montali neutralizing it. You can look at Minnesota's season. We've mentioned some of the defensive woes. Have not kept a clean sheet for quite some time. A side that has managed just 2 shutouts the entire season. The last of which came in a 2-0 victory in late April over Colorado Rapids 2. Rajagopal, not on the same connective sphere as Medina. Hearing word that Sosnowski is getting set to depart after what would be a strong 70 minutes and change. His replacement, Issa Saidi. Saidi, more of a listed winger in place of Sosnowski, native of Zambia, who's a player currently still in the Minnesota United Academy at 17 years of age, now making his 14th appearance of the campaign as someone who's growing into a regular with the Loons in the second team ranks. He will hope to lock up shop for Minnesota as they look to escort what would be a hard-fought victory over the line. The Town with other ideas though. Medina surging ahead here and latching onto it. This is Cruz Medina. Bent not there to receive it though. When you evaluate the Town's performance, I think Dan DeGeer would probably agree. It's maybe a match of frustration. A fair few moves that haven't come off due to just sheer disconnects between players that don't characteristically occur. Dorsey chasing after this, and he does connect with it. An expert flick. Not enough mustard on it before it can reach Jean. We approach the final quarter of an hour. As things stand, Minnesota would earn a desperately craved 3 points in their quest for a first ever playoff berth. But this is a costly giveaway. Walwyn Bent striding forward. Heavy touch, he's brought down, and the question is inside or outside the area. Yellow card has been shown to Anderson Ferris, and I believe they say that the contact occurred outside the box. A massive break for Minnesota here. And I believe that decision is correct. Definitely initiated when Walwyn Bent was outside the area. And then at least spares Minnesota a spot kick to contend with. Although this is definitely a well-placed free kick nonetheless. You do have to get this up and down rather quickly if you are the Town. Now the question is, who will have the honors of taking this? Because it likely favors someone who's left-footed. That would be Mendoza in this context. Remember, while the wall is a decent distance from the ball, with the angle you're positioned just outside the 18, you either have to bend this around the wall or get it up and down so fast. It takes an expert degree of technique to execute from this range. Going underneath the wall challenging because Ferris currently lies there. Medina and Mendoza, a dynamic duo on set pieces all night. Mendoza right into the wall, still loose for Adimabua, and the follow-up effort is well off. Minnesota has stood firm. Saidi. Not the pass Torres was hoping for. Roman Torres, we've already mentioned, recalled officially earlier today, was excellent in his lone season at Creighton last year. Here's a quick break for the Town! Off the post from Rodriguez. Adimabua over the bar. That was the golden chance. Misael Rodriguez threw on goal after this lovely ball forward. Bypasses Kabia, has the space required, and just cannons it off the near post. And Adimabua unable to keep the header down. And the goal drought persists for the town. Well, fans, this portion of the match is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. You and Blue, better together. And moments ago, Minnesota spared what looked to be a surefire equalizer. Misael Rodriguez does not miss many from that range. Tried to tuck it in at the near post, and right off of it. Minnesota still clings to a one-goal advantage in a match that many would feel they would be well better off to win. Not necessarily a must-win, but definitely one you'd strongly prefer to win, especially when you're in a position where you're leading this late. It would take a Herculean effort for the town to clinch a playoff berth tonight as things currently stand. The quest to come back and win looks to be a far climb. Ferris. This is Niang. Now Jean. Chandler in plenty of space and options ahead. Right away before it can reach Dorsey, though. Eisner. Medina. He would be the primary candidate to provide a moment of brilliance, not named Adima Boa. When Ben slow to return to his feet as a yellow card has just been shown by our lead official. Yellow card shown to Torres in his Loons debut. There's an outside shot in which the town could clinch if they were to win a penalty shootout, but they're still a long way from getting to that point even. Would take also a number of other results to go their way. Still plenty of time to clinch a playoff berth if they don't win tonight. Medina. Ibarra. Mendoza. Back to Ibarra. Medina with room to cross. It's deflected, and Rizvanovic handles it rather well. Sure-handed so far. From the US U18 Youth International, 17 years of age, Kane Rizvanovic, a native of Chicago, who has posted impressive save numbers since becoming the go-to number one in Wessel Spiel's absence. It's a Minnesota side that has cycled through 4 different goalkeepers this year. Rizvanovic, one of the consistent ones, though. Inside the final 10 minutes. Minnesota desperately hoping to see this out. Medina. Eisner an errant ball. Maybe a chance to break the other way. Numbers for Minnesota, cutting it back to Dorsey. That was the chance. And a rare miss from close range for him. What a run it was from Owen Jean, and all Dorsey had to do was dispatch and got exceptionally far underneath it. Adima Boa rocketing forward. Adima Boa is through. Cleared off the line. Minnesota does just enough. End-to-end action. Dorsey on one end, Adima Boa on the other, and Alpha Kabia to the rescue for the Loons. Rajagopal. Medina. Baldwin bent. Dancing through traffic. Deflected cross. Doesn't reach Adima Boat. Comes out to Noor. You can see the urgency on Minnesota's touchline. Jeremy Hull's keeping what seems to be a good poker face, not getting too animated on the touchline. Someone who was named April Coach of the Month after the sensational start to the year. He's played 12 years as a professional as well, has the experience in MLS as a former 11th overall pick in the 2009 Super Draft. He has guided this team into playoff contention as we head into the final months of the season. These are the fixtures that could define their fate. Adima Boat wins the header and committed a foul in the process. Owen Jean, the first teamer, still slow to return to his feet. The native of Nantes in France, played in Ligue 2 for 3 years as a professional before making the move to Minnesota United's first team this winter, primarily featuring for the first team. This is his first ever Next Pro appearance. Has performed well in valuable minutes. We are now inside the final 5 minutes from National Sports Center Stadium. And the match still remains on a knife edge as Kabia commits the foul, and he is already on a yellow card, so this may get interesting. Now our referee having a conversation with Kabia, who is prone on the pitch after that challenge. This is a major decision from our official. Yellow card has been shown, and that is a second yellow for Alpha Kabia, who has been sent off with 5 to play. And the quest for 3 points has gotten that much more complex. Take another look. Alpha Kabia trying to stop the counter. He comes in very late. That does appear to be a yellow card offense, and he doesn't really have much leg to stand on. He has shown the door in the closing stages of this. A second yellow for Kabia, and Minnesota down to 10. For these final 4 minutes, it will no doubt be an onslaught for Minnesota to contend with. Rizvanovic collects this with relative comfort. And he can expect an aerial bombardment from here on out. You wonder if Jeremy Hull makes any further alterations to bolster the defense. One of his 3 center backs now off the pitch. Instead, the town readying 2 changes. Hearing word that one of them will be Eugene Kikuchi, as well as Alex Ling. Pair of younger players hoping to change the trajectory of things. Mumba. Time running out, but you figure a fair bit will be added on for the red card stoppage especially. Walwyn bent, arcing across it. And headed wide, well wide by Rodriguez. Well, here are the changes. It is just one for now. Ricardo Ibarra, the captain, making way for Yujin Kikuchi. Kikuchi, a 17-year-old out of the Quakes Academy, making just his second pro appearance after coming on for the final 6 minutes of the first Real Monarchs clash on July 26th. So just Kikuchi for Ricardo Ibarra in a very attack-minded change for Dan De Geer. In year 4, was hoping to guide the town into a third consecutive postseason and ensure their place. May just have to wait. This is headed along. Rodriguez can't get a clean touch to it. Mumba. He pings across in, headed on by Cano. Falls for Misael Rodriguez. Expertly won by the substitute in Torres. We are now in the final minute of the initial 90. All eyes on the fourth official in a matter of moments. The town in major danger of going a second consecutive match without a goal. A side that has not scored since the 56th minute of their 1-0 victory over Dynamo Dos. As things stand, 214 minutes without a tally is the official math. And there's a Minnesota player down as we approach stoppage time. 4 minutes of added time will separate us from a potential victor in this one. You get the feeling we might go well beyond the 4 due to this injury stoppage. Right now, the lone goal scored by Logan Dorsey in the 62nd minute, a well-taken effort from a relatively tight angle. And now Minnesota readying one final change. Jaden Bernard, the youngster, will enter the action for Britton Fisher, who is the man down. A leader in defense. Will be out of commission for stoppage time, and we're hearing word that a minute of stoppage time will now be added on. So Bernard, the Minnesota United U18 player, replacing the more experienced Fisher, who's been an Iron Man in the heart of defense, and they will have to cope without him down a man if they hope to see this out. This is a key point in Minnesota's season. It cannot be the importance cannot be overstated in this regard. A team that entered the night on the fringes of the top 8. 3 points would all but ensure they end the evening in the coveted playoff places with 5 matches to play. And when you consider that a lot of teams around them, notably North Texas, have a match in hand, every point rendered that much more valuable. So Bernard in officially for Fisher. Adimabua, he is offside. And remember, those 4 minutes, probably not an accurate indication of how long we will play. It will likely be 5 minutes of added time at this stage. And well, how about that? Changed magically to 5 minutes. Is there late drama in this one? Chandler cleans up that interchange. Midway through stoppage time as things stand. A 10-match unbeaten run for the town hangs in considerable peril at this stage. A side that has not suffered defeat since that loss against St. Louis in late June, June 22nd, the last time the Town were beaten, well over 2 months ago. This chip forward, Rodriguez, he is offside, and another promising chance comes to nothing. We approach the final 90 seconds of our added 5 minutes. Rizvanovic pings ahead. Minnesota down a man after the sending off of Alpha Kabia in the 86th. They've been hanging on by a thread ever since. Have managed to limit the chance quality thus far. Adimabua flicks it along, a glaring opportunity, and still alive, Eisner over the bar. A colossal chance goes begging for the Town, and that was their moment. Everyone ahead. A good ball from Medina, flicked perfectly into the path of Will Eisner, who lost his footing and then forced onto his back foot, can't put the shot on frame. What an effort by Kane Rizvanovic, who's done just enough to keep Minnesota in front. Final 30 seconds of the added 5 minutes. Somehow the Town is not level. Walwyn bent. Shrugs off his defender. Lost his footing now. Kano deflects out for one final corner. And you get the sense that maybe Montali may make the trek up from his own goalposts. Another Minnesota player down. We are beyond the added 5 minutes. Now you wonder how much longer our referee lets this run. 2 injury stoppages. He did add a minute of stoppage time for the first. It appears Kieran Chandler is, excuse me, maybe Anderson Ferris. It is Anderson Ferris who's down. Ferris, the outside center back, who's hardly put a foot wrong this evening, with the exception of his yellow card, of course, is helped to his feet. And if he can't continue, that means Minnesota actually has to defend this corner with 9 men, because they're already down a man. That makes things that much more difficult. Mumba to take. Within swing, dangerous ball, still loose, appeals for handball. The referee has waved them away, but we continue to play on, unsurprisingly. Flicked along, Eisner crossing it in. It's an appetizing one. Nearly falls for Adimabua, still loose, Mumba! Nobody there to force it over the line. A dramatic clearance from Minnesota. And now it appears another man may be down. Not a dull moment at the conclusion of this fixture. It is a player for the Town who's slow to get up. This is a match that has been left in permanent suspense for the last 15 minutes or so. That may just be Nonso Adimabua, and if it is, that's a concerning sight because he's their top scorer, their menace up front. Well beyond the added 5 minutes. And here in Minnesota, the Loons still cling to a late lead, but it is far from wrapped up. They're still attending to the fallen player, who does look to be Adima Bua, a 24-year-old who's been a revelation up top for the town all season long. Someone who's built such a strong rapport with the likes of Cruz Medina and others in the midfield that have allowed this town attack to blossom over the course of the year. Signing that Next Pro deal after finishing his college career at California and earning an All-ACC third-team nod this past year. And maybe one more change being readied. Alex Ling replaces Nonso Adimabua, the substitute, who goes off injured. And that will be a point of concern for the town faithful ahead of their upcoming fixture on Saturday against Portland Timbers 2 at home. His availability will be a major question mark now, it seems. We are approaching the century mark here in Minnesota. How much time is left is the question. Medina poking it in, charged out of danger. And Ferris reads that well. Chandler clatters into Ling. Referee says play on. And now he comes back to the challenge and shows the yellow. And Kieran Chandler slow to return to his feet. The substitute Ling, who's just entered the fray, has been greeted with a yellow card. And Kieran Chandler, the latest Minnesota lad to go down. Well past the 100-minute threshold. A match that was largely cagey through the opening hour. Ever since Logan Dorsey's opener, things have gotten quite chaotic. Minnesota, no doubt, hunting the corner flag. And there is the full-time whistle. A desperately sought and hard-earned 3 points for Minnesota. They win 1-0, courtesy of Logan Dorsey's 62nd minute tally, and end the town's 10-match unbeaten run. A Minnesota side that, as of now, climbs just into the top 8 with 5 matches to play on their calendar. A massive result against one of the top Western Conference contenders. It is now time for our man of the match. And unsurprisingly, Logan Dorsey, the lone goal scorer who opened the scoring with a goal in the 3rd consecutive match. You see him just run into the soft spot between the defenders, and he drives this home expertly to provide the separating moment. What a key standout moment for a Minnesota squad that desperately needed 3 points, and 3 points they got. Well, for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb. Once again, our final score is Minnesota 1, the Town 0. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.